Hey guys, it's Jenna. In today's video, we're going to be going over some brand new Charlotte Tilbury products. These are some new reviews from the last 5 launches or so that she has done. So I'm really excited to get right on into it. We're going to be talking about the new reformulated Take It All Off makeup remover. Then we're going to be talking about the Glow toner, which I have a lot of thoughts about actually. So I will get right into this one. Of course, we have the new shades, which I also demo on my eyes in this video, and they are the new EYES To Mesmerize shades. We have all 3 to talk about today, and the last 2 are super exciting. We have the Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer as well as the Brightening Powder to talk about. So I will let you guys know my honest thoughts on these. All of these things have been purchased by me except for the Glow toner, which was sent to me in PR. So let's get started. Let's start off with the first product, the newly improved makeup remover. Okay, so right off the hop, we have some technical difficulties with this because as soon as I saw this, I realized, wait a minute, I thought the new one was not a blue color. And sure enough, I'm looking at the Charlotte Tilbury website. The new one is not blue. Like at all. So when I ordered this product, I literally ordered this at the same time that I ordered the brand new EYES To Mesmerize. Whoop, almost dropped those. And this I actually ordered in the smaller size on purpose because the smaller size is $20, whereas the larger size is $42. So I thought that I may as well try the smaller size, but looking at this, I think this is the old formula. So that kind of sucks. I'm just going to give you a quick little summary of what I think about this old formula, but know that she's, I guess, trying to phase this out and bring in the new one. So that's kind of what I was hoping to test out. So kind of threw my planning a little bit wonky, but this is the Take It All Off, a Genius Eye Makeup Remover. This, I guess, is the old formulation, and I'm kind of glad it is because when I used it today, I actually didn't think it was the best makeup remover I've ever used. So this one is still decent, I would say. So I applied this on just a Shiseido cotton pad, and I was actually trying to do some very tricky makeup removing, which is the eye makeup in particular. I feel like that's always something that I think is a great test for makeup removers. And this one, it was getting rid of it for sure, but I just felt like it had a little bit of an oily residue on it compared to some other products that I use that I really, really like. So I really like cleansing oils. I really like the Pharmacy Cleansing Balm, the Keys Soul Care Cleansing Balm. Those are nice and gentle and they just melt makeup right off of your skin. But this is one that's supposed to be like that oil, like biphase kind of product where you have oil and then liquid and you mix them together. And like I said, I just realized I was pretty disappointed that they sent me the old formulation when I really was hoping to get the new one. That was the whole point. And I purposely wanted to save money by getting the smaller size, not the large one. I'm actually going to talk to Charlotte Tilbury about that and just see if I can get the new one replaced or something because this was a bit disappointing. But either way, I'm glad that they do have a new formulation out. The old one is just decent, so I'm hoping that the new formulation is better. Let's talk about the next product, which is the Glow toner. This for sure is new. I know that much. I did get this one in PR. I will be talking about this one still very honestly, of course. So this one has some skin-loving ingredients in it, which I do like because it is supposed to be a skincare product. The only thing with Charlotte Tilbury and skincare is fragrance. Sometimes there is a fragrance component to her skincare. Oftentimes there is. If you have sensitive skin, that is something to really take note of. This one has niacinamide in it. It has something called Pore Tight. Maybe that's one of her trademarked things, I don't know. Exfoliactive. Exfoliactive is another trademarked name also on this Glow toner. This is the full size as well of this product. You can also get a small size, which would be around this size if you want to try it out. Now this one is supposed to claim to make your skin feel baby smooth, really have that nice texture, gently resurface, not irritate the skin, but prep it really nicely for the next steps in your skincare. It's also supposed to reduce the look of pores. It's supposed to be a daily radiant glow solution. I'm going to go over this one a little bit in a different way because this does have fragrance in it and I was able to smell it. It's not like super, super potent, but it's definitely a little bit there. So I'm actually really thankful that it's not a very perfumey product like the Guerlains, you know, some of those really high shelf luxury brands carry very, very perfumey skincare. This one is totally fine. It's a little bit kind of, I can tell there's something there, but it's not too bad. And for when I was testing it, it actually didn't irritate my skin at all. Typically toners will do that. They will light up my redness and make me look really, really red. This one feels very milky and very smooth in consistency. I did also put it on a Shiseido cotton pad and just kind of glided it over my skin, and it actually was a really nice experience. Perfume slash fragrance is actually in the middle, and then we have some flower oils towards the bottom. So there is some fragrance in here, probably more than I would like to see, but that's also something that Charlotte has consistently done. And for that reason, I only use her skincare to prep my skin before makeup, but I don't use it as a religious everyday skincare regimen, if that makes sense. This one, like I said, actually made my skin feel really nice and smooth. So I really did enjoy that part of it. It gave me a teeny bit of a tack, just a little bit as I was kind of feeling my skin. I could feel a little bit of some light tack feeling on the skin, but I think it's meant to have your moisturizer layer over top or your primer if you're going to use it like how I would in a makeup prep kind of way. But I really liked how it kind of smoothed over, it gently exfoliated. I didn't feel like it was too harsh. Considering that my skin is fairly sensitive, it didn't react at all as badly as I thought it would, so that's also a plus. So I'm going to be using this just to prep my skin before makeup. Now let's talk about the EYES To Mesmerize. Now this is a formulation that I really, really like. There are 3 new shades in here, and I've actually demoed all of them on my eyes today. The one I'm currently wearing is Sunlit Glow. It is the only duochrome in this formulation in this line. So she has other shades, but I don't believe any of them are duochrome. The new shades are Exagger-Eyes, which I'll show you first. I actually was super impressed with how this looked on my eyes. I was like, wow, this is actually one of my favorite shades, I think, from the new launch. It's so beautiful. It looks gorgeous. So this is the Exagger-Eyes shade. Comes in the exact same packaging as all of the other ones. It's the same frosted glass base with the really beautiful purple lid. And when you open it up, you'll see you have a ton of product in here. The key with these is to not over apply them. So that's something that I think a lot of us tend to just like swipe our hands really deep in there and then plaster it all over our eyes. It's not what you're supposed to do with this. It's really meant for light layers. The opacity is about medium to full, so not quite a full coverage when you have a first swipe, but it is something meant to lay on the lighter side. If you do layer too heavy, I do find that it will be more prone to collect into lines or anything, especially if you have hooded eyes like me. So keep it on the lighter side so that there's a less tendency to gather into places you don't want it to gather in. Now you can also prep your eyes with these. You can use a makeup primer, like an eye primer, or you don't have to, but do know that with a primer you do get a little bit more longevity. The next shade is Golden Eclipse. This one is actually my least favorite out of all of them. Not to say it's not beautiful, because it is. This is kind of like liquid gold, but this one is actually my least favorite out of the 3. So this is my least, and then Exagger-Eyes is number 2. The one that I'm wearing right now is probably my favorite just because it's so unique. But this one is really gorgeous as well. You can see that I also started off applying this, just like I did with the other one, with my fingertip first, and a light layer trying to smooth it over my lid. And then I sort of used what all of us have in our collection, a very standard kind of like diffusing brush. So this one that I'm using is the tiny little Natasha Denona brush that came with one of her mini palettes a long time ago. You can see this is something that we all have. It's like very basic, nothing too dense, not like a packing brush or anything, but something like this to have a little bit of flex. You can see like that, and you're able to really kind of blend in that line so it's not so stark. You can also sort of smooth it along the lid there. And this is the type of brush that I've seen Charlotte use with this product to keep it nice and thin, so not too heavy on the lid, and also to smooth it while it's still tacky. This is something that is going to set probably within 5 minutes. It does give you a lot of time to buff it into the eye, which I do appreciate, because sometimes if they're too fast setting, then it's like moving hard clay and it sort of like really irritates the skin and feels like you're pulling, right? This one gives you a lot of flexibility there. That's why when she came out with new shades of this, I was like, yay, I'm so happy because this is a nice cream formula and it's really nice for beginners as well. Now let's talk about the last one that's on my eyes right now. You can see it has so much to look at and it's only one shade. It's got the pink to gold shift. This is called Sunlit Glow. Sunlit Glow, same thing, same packaging, but you can see there's a very distinct shift in this one. It's so beautiful. Goes from like a golden to a pink. It's kind of like a sunset to me. Like it's really stunning. Reminds me of like the pink clouds as they set. So it's kind of like that look on the lid. It's really stunning. And you can also carry this cream formulation to the lower lid if you want, but I just kept it to the upper today just to keep it a little bit more simple. Nothing too flashy today. Performed just like the rest of them. The same tips apply. Try to keep it nice and thin when it comes to applying it. Make sure that you're using that nice fluffy brush to really blend into the creases there, to soften any edges. It's a really nice, easy to use formulation. So I would say if you are wanting any of these new 3 shades, you'll like them. I actually think Sunlit Glow is like my first favorite, like I said, but Exagger-Eyes is right up there. Like this one is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And this one's probably like, I would say, the most everyday friendly probably, because this one's really gorgeous, but it's kind of flashy, right? This one is beautiful for just, if you want to just have a nice glamorous eye, but nothing too bold. Really, really love it. So that's kind of how I'd rank it. Sunlit Glow is just barely first, then Exagger-Eyes, and then Golden Eclipse. All good shades though, I must say. I think Charlotte did a great job. Now I'm going to pull up the next product, which is the Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer. Now let's talk about this one. Looks like there's 36 shades in this line, which is nice to see. It's supposed to be a medium coverage, hydrating concealer to conceal, to brighten the works basically. This is the shade that I picked up. It is slightly too light. And that's kind of what I was worried about. When I shared this on my community tab saying that it was now available, I was like, oh, like I picked 2.5 fair. And I'm like, I think this might be too light by a little bit. And sure enough, it is. But I was able to make it work. When you have a bit of a lighter concealer, something that I like to do, I mean, if it's way too light, it's still gonna look stark against your skin, but if you have like just a little bit too light of a shade, which is what I have here, I just put it on first before my foundation. And then I put my foundation over top and it really seems to cover it. So that's what I like. It's just very simple fix. When it comes to brightening under the eye, because it's a little bit lighter than my skin tone, it actually brightened a little bit nicely. So I'll still use this shade, but I do think my shade is probably 3 fair or 4 fair, given that this one is a little bit too light. Let's talk about the experience of this one, which is actually really nice so far. Now, I've tested this a couple of times already. I wanted to make sure I had more than just a one-time use with this. And this one is a medium coverage. It does have a nice radiance to it. It has that nice coverage behind it, but it gives you that luminosity of healthy skin. So it doesn't like put a spotlight on imperfections. It just makes you have healthy skin while also concealing. So I do like that. I really, really do. And because this is from the Beautiful Skin line, it makes sense because there's a ton of radiance with that Beautiful Skin foundation as well, which I do have, and I've also tested quite significantly as well. You can see that's the doe foot. Now, the other concealer she had was the Magic Away concealer. I did used to own it before it expired, like a long time ago, but some of the differences between this new formulation compared to the Magic Away one was the Magic Away one was not significantly built out, like the shade range was a lot more limited, so I liked that she built this one out a lot more. The Magic Away was also a full coverage product versus this one is a medium one. And because of the delivery of this one's a lot cleaner because it doesn't have that sponge applicator that you have to like push and then the product kind of seeps out the top. I do like that there's kind of like a sponge that you can press into the skin and blend right away, but I did find that it was often a little bit messy with that delivery method versus this one's going to be a lot cleaner because of the doe foot and the container. I did enjoy the Magic Away concealer, but not enough to ever repurchase it. So that's something that I also kind of noted when I was thinking about what are the differences. And this one, I like that it's not too light because if you have a light coverage product plus radiance, I think it's just not really doing anything for those of us that have significant dark circles or significant acne to cover. But the medium coverage of this makes it actually usable so that you actually have the coverage that you want plus the luminosity of the formulation underneath it. So it is actually a really nice addition to her line. It's not exactly the same as Magic Away, so if you do have the original one, know that this one is a bit different. I do think that the Magic Away one was nice, but it just wasn't like one of my top 3 concealers ever. This one has a really strong start, at least for my testing. This is now my 3rd or 4th test with this one now, and it's been really, really strong. It doesn't crease under the eyes, which I appreciate. However, I do apply it not like a cool like raccoon all the way across, okay? Because that's not something that I've been trying to do lately. I have like eye wrinkles starting to develop now that I'm 33, so I try not to go all the way across when I'm doing my application. I try to keep it closer to the nose and the beginning of the eye because that's where my darkness is. And then if I do need some brightening, I'll put it kind of over here, but I won't go all the way around my eye because then it'll really collect anyway. So give the product the best shot at doing what it wants for you. Unless you have significant stuff to cover, then of course do what you need to do. I've set this with the new brightening powder. I've also set this with the flawless finish powder, so we'll talk about that as well. But this is a strong, strong first impression, and I have been enjoying it so far. Now let's talk about this last one, which is the Airbrush brightening powder from Charlotte Tilbury. This is also a brand new powder. This is a totally different compact than, well, it's the same in like feel, I guess, but obviously the color is a bit different. We have the flawless finish powder over here on this hand, and then we have the brightening powder over here. And you can tell that it's distinctly different from the outer packaging. I do love the angel wings on this one. I think it's really beautiful. And it's nice that it's not as super metallic as this one because it's not as prone to fingerprinting. So that's really nice. But when you open this one up, the interior is very similar. It's just a white powder, basically, a brightening powder. There are 2 shades in this one. There's only the 2 options. So we have fair to medium, and I believe medium to deep as the 2 options. But I do like how she's kept the consistency of the packaging with the flawless finish powder because I really like that one. This one is really nice with some new additions, right? We do have a beautiful kind of rose gold rim over here, and I'm hoping my lighting will pick it up because it's so beautiful. You can see that it is rose gold metallic versus this one, the original. Mine's kind of really well loved, but it's actually like gold metallic, right? So the shade I use in this powder, I get a lot of questions about it. I'm really in between fair and medium. Fair is almost a little bit too fair, and medium is slightly too deep. Very, very slightly, but I can pull either one off. So this is medium, and this one's totally fine. But this brightening powder, I was wondering how this was going to look under my eyes. Is it going to make me look kind of ghostly or sick or like way too bright that it looks kind of not natural? So this one claims to be the exact same formulation as the setting powders, except this one is just to brighten. It's just to lift. It's just to blur the face as well in a little bit of a different way, more so with lighting effects versus like a matte finish, right? Because I do believe that this powder here does a nice job of blurring the skin too. But with a brightening powder, it sort of plays with light a little bit because it's white, right? Like the color of the actual powder itself will work with light to give you more of that brightening effect versus using something that's close to your skin pigment. So it's kind of a nice effect, and I was really excited to test it. When I feel them as I'm actually like putting my hand in and swatching, it is the same formulation. It feels very, very lightweight, basically like air on the skin. It feels very, very nice. So not super heavy. It doesn't weigh down my skin or anything. And I actually did a comparison here to kind of try to pick up that difference. It is subtle, but it is there. If you do want to layer a little bit more, you can absolutely brighten the area even a little bit more yet. I feel like this is buildable to about a medium. So you can brighten quite significantly. The trick to this one is to not over apply it because then it's going to look quite stark. This is one that is meant to have just a kiss, right? Just a touch of that brightening to kind of give you some youthfulness, give you that nice brightening effect under the eyes in particular. I know some people were asking me like, is it glittery or whatever? It's not. It's just that same like powder that we have that we're used to from the setting powder, but just like a white pigment. That's really what it is, at least for the fair to medium shade. The one that's for medium to deep, or tan to deep, she calls it, is actually kind of like a golden color. So it's a golden pigment versus this one is white. You can actually use it all over the face if you would like. I've used it on my forehead a little bit. I've like lightened the tip of my nose. I've done like a little bit of just very light highlighting on my face, but mostly I like it for under the eyes. We are at the end of the video, so now I get to wake him up from his little slumber, and he's here to say goodbye. Don't forget to subscribe for more luxury Charlotte Tilbury reviews, and until my next one, we will chat soon. Bye guys!